Hey, hello, everybody. Thank you for clicking on Doofus After Dark. We got some things to think about. And starting off, this is a still from yesterday's episode. Yesterday, we did concert in the park. We had a band called Dog Days, a local band, and then a nationally touring band known as the Arena Rock Show. And they put on a really good show. Again, that video is up. It is, you won't find any commercials in it. It is not monetized. And I want to explain the end of that video real quick if I could. My battery pack had been drained. I had to use the cooling thing for a while on the phone to keep the stream going. And I also had to charge the phone and tried to charge the gimbal. The gimbal gave out first. The battery pack was already out, of course. And then right at the very end, the last song, before the last song and then the encore, the phone died. So the stream just suddenly ends, and that's why. So with all that being said, check out that video from last night if you're so inclined, and you'll find some pretty good performances of some classic hair bands. Let's just put it that way. Arena Rock Show. So that should give you an indication of the kind of music you're going to hear. Everything from Alice Cooper to Ozzy. So tomorrow night, starting at 10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, we're going to be doing the ladies panel again, and we're going to be talking about mental health. We're going to dive a little deeper into post-traumatic stress syndrome. We're going to have a little bit of fun with what Disney princess are you, but we're going to get serious after that. That's where we're going to have a little fun before that. So again, what you're seeing on the screen right now, this is from last night's episode, and it was called Heavy Metal and Arena Rock Show Live. Not monetized, so you're not going to see any commercials there. And with all that being said, let's roll along into some things to think about. Starting out with Mike Pence on CNN says he's, quote, not yet convinced, end quote, that Trump's actions on January 6th were criminal. Sarah Larchmont responds with hanging the vice president of the United States is a gray area for sure. Okay, my old buddy Mike. Okay, this is going to be a troubling scroll. Male anti-abortion religious leaders mull murder charges for pregnant people at a national event. This is Friday night. A male anti-abortion religious leaders mull murder charges for pregnant people. An all-male panel of anti-abortion religious leaders from around the country met Friday night to discuss the strategies that should be used to push the death penalty for women who have an abortion. This is from Cornell Woodridge. He asks in relation to Jason Aldean, not to the song necessarily, but he is responding to Jason Aldean addresses racism controversy surrounding his song. Tried that in a small town and pledges to continue performing it. He says, I love our country. This is a quote from Jason Aldean. I love our country. I want to see it restored to what it once was before all this bullshit started happening to us, end quote. Cornell Woodridge asks, quote, restored to what it once was before all this bullshit started happening to us. I'd love to know what time in U.S. history Aldean thinks was so awesome for all of, quote unquote, us. Also, exactly what bullshit has happened to him, question mark, is us, in quotations, just his audience, or does that include me? Again, if you're just joining us, this is some things to think about. Fox News host Jesse Waters calls for viewers to, quote, stigmatize, unquote, unhoused people Sorry about that. I ran way too far. Anyway, Jesse Walters is being his normal, warm, loving self. Um, he says he wants the unhoused to be stigmatized. He says, "quote You have to call them what they are. These people that have failed in life, and they're on their deathbed." End quote. Earlier tonight, actually, we got this about an hour ago. Headquarters for the Russian branch of Leroy Merlin, a French home improvement company, reportedly struck tonight with a Ukrainian kamikaze attack drone said to have hit the top floors of its office building in the Russian capital city of Moscow, causing extensive damage to the upper floors. But it was done at a time when no one was in the office, and so far there are no injuries or fatalities. Why, you ask, would this happen? And it was a Ukrainian drone. This French company has been helping rebuild certain areas around Russia, and Ukraine wasn't happy with their aid to the Russian government, so they sent them a message. That's what the word is in these underground streets. Evidently, this person at there. For those that don't know, there's a corner across from the DC jail. The DC jail area where most or many or some anyway of the January 6th protesters, as they like to call themselves, where they are awaiting trial or awaiting sentencing. And there is a group across the street from this jail on a corner in Washington, D.C. that they call Freedom Corner. And apparently, one of them is quoted as saying, "Stand with Ashley Babbitt, not Jason Aldean." A lot of you know what I'm talking about when I say Freedom Corner, but this is for those that are perhaps new to the show. And thank you all for clicking on, no matter if you're new or not. Here's another look at the building that was hit. Now, BNO says that drones hit multiple buildings. And at the moment, I've only got clarification of one. Or verification, I should say, not clarification. This happened 6 hours ago. The Austin NAACP office was targeted by vandals early today. President Nelson Linder says, with office equipment and other supplies stolen, Linder says authorities are investigating. I've got to pull this out, okay? This is from KT Special CIA Operation. My 8-year-old son ordered an AK-47 from the dark web. I only realized it when it showed up on our doorstep. For those of you that don't know what the dark web is, you can get it just about anything there. Former staffer says Trump will drop out of the 2024 race in exchange for a deal to avoid prosecution or prison. That's all well and good, but I think they're missing a huge point in the fact that Democrats actually want to run against Trump. Trump's probably the only person that Joe Biden may be able to beat. And that's not because President Biden hasn't done some good things. It's just because the toxicity of everything, of our country, of our media, of our social media, of our interpersonal relationships. So hey, just something to think about. Being nice is okay. It's a decent thing. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of humanity. Jason Aldean talks. Okay, this is the opposition. Jason Aldean opposition to Jason Aldean. Jason Aldean talks a lot of crap for a guy who ran off the stage without warning the audience at the Route 91 Harvest Music Festival on the Las Vegas Strip. He was at the microphone when the shooting started, when he realized it, and he ran off the stage. Look, I'm not going to play the video. I'm not going to condemn the guy. I'm just going to let you know this is out here, and that I can't say what I would have done had I been on that stage when that happened. Actually, I will play the video so you can hear the audio. I'm not sure what I would have done on that stage, and I'm not going to be accusatory of him over that. We'll have to discuss the song at some point. I'm hoping to have a couple of different people on. I'm going to try to. We got a panel coming up tomorrow night. Panel of ladies coming on. We're going to be talking about mental health, and I'm hoping in the next couple of days to have a panel on the Jason Aldean song, and I want to have some different perspectives. So I've got to reach out to some people and see if we can get this put together. But here's how it sounded.
We're going to take a look at some video that is just in. I know that you've heard about this as well. This happened during the performance of Jason Aldean, who was the last performer, I believe, during the concert. Let's listen to what happened as the shooting started to happen and he realized what was going on. Listen.
Again, we're going to have a discussion. Screen's out of focus. Okay, hang on. I focused it when it was enlarged, so let me enlarge. Well, I'm going to run through these real quick. Breaking Ukraine, this was 15 hours ago. Ukraine takes down a massive pro-Russian bot farm. This time it's about 150,000 SIM cards. The bots were used to push Russian propaganda on social media, justifying the Russian war in Ukraine. Those of you that are techies know how significant that is. All right, I'll pop this one out and see and try to see if I can. I'm on my camera, or I'm on my phone, the camera on my phone. So, whoa, what happened? Well, I'm going to show that anyway, whether Twitter wants me to. And by the way, Twitter will be becoming X in just a few hours. No more Twitter. From now on, it will be called X. And I don't know. It's not that big a deal to me, but a lot of people don't like it. So anyway, that's not for me to decide. I'm just giving you things to think about. All right, something to think about right here at the moment. Andre the Giant. In case you don't know, this guy was a professional wrestler. He was an actor. He was in Princess Bride, among other things. And he is a massive human being. How massive?
Let's take the size of your hand. I want to compare it to mine. Fans, take a look at this. Can you believe that? Perhaps even, let's compare it to the size of my head. Andre, I have one more favor before we must sign off here, Andre. Would you be kind enough? I would like to try that very attractive sport coat of yours on. Could you give me a hand with that? Is that possible?
Can we do it the other way? Can I try you, folks?
You'd have no chance with that. Oh, my word. Take a look at this. Custom-made clothing. Andre, we'll start this way. Weather does get chilly periodically. My word. It looks like a top coat. I can't believe it. This is unreal.
Mean Gene Okerlund.
Andre,
Rest in peace,
best
Mean Gene.
fans.
That's Andre the Giant. Rest in peace, Andre the Giant, as well. That's our little break, if you will, from the absurdity because the absurdity is just going to keep coming. Jon Stewart delivers another crushing truth. Why do we let corporations socialize financial losses and privatize their gains? What are we talking about here? Let's give him a listen. A little economics, sorry, but it's for your own good.
When corporations fail, you pay for it. But when they succeed, it's theirs. They socialize their losses and privatize their gains. Why do we allow that?
Consider this. Wealthy people do not stash their billions in safe deposit boxes loaded with $100 bills. They don't do that. And they don't spend it all at the mall. They don't spend like crazy. No. Wealthy people invest. It is investment that creates jobs and economic growth.
See, this is the lie they tell you. That all this money flowing towards corporate and moneyed interests is actually for your benefit. The government intervention for corporations is our free market. But government intervention for workers is socialism. And that's the reason for the socialism scaremongering. It's a false choice. To make you believe that this country has but two options. A socialist, authoritarian, hamburgerless Venezuelan nightmare, or accept the status quo, where large corporations benefit from government help, then use some of those profits to lobby the same government for more government help. They want you to believe that in a free market, while your wages stay low, someday the largesse will eventually trickle down. And in the meantime, enjoy watching your tax dollars help billionaires launch themselves into fucking space.
Think Amway as something to think about. That again, Jon Stewart. All right, this is an interesting thing to think about. This might show. I don't know if this shows generation. Shit. I don't. Excuse me for almost saying shit. I don't know if this shows generational differences or if this show. I'm not sure what this actually shows. But I learned that there is.
I just got yelled at for asking a very.
Hold on a second. I learned there is a new thing. Time blindness is the term.
So I just got yelled at for asking a very reasonable question. So I'm applying to go somewhere, and I just wanted to know: are there accommodations for people who struggle with time blindness and being on time? You know. And then the person I was with interrupted and acted like I was asking something else. And then when we were done, they actually started yelling at me and saying that accommodations for time blindness doesn't exist. And if you struggle with being on time, you'll never be able to get a job. You know, provided you're trying your absolute best to be there.
Okay, if you struggle with time blindness, you'll never ever be able to get a job. And time blindness is not being able to get there on time, according to, well, at least this person.
And then they're like, your stupid generation wants to destroy the workplace. And yeah, I think that a culture where workers are just cut off because they struggle with being on time, when there's other solutions that we can look to, I think that just anybody who thinks it's okay to just treat people like that, yeah, that culture needs to be dismantled. And then I asked that person, how can you feel good about yourself upholding this kind of system? And then to think I'm entitled. No, if people think it's okay to treat others like this, that's entitlement.
All right. Another one of those quick things to think about. Here's another one. Trump supporter caught on tape being kicked out of a Walmart. If you haven't seen this one, well, I think no matter what side you happen to be on, you're going to find this amusing. However, if you're not a Trump supporter, and I certainly am not, then you might find this pretty funny.
Shut up and I will not sit down, and I will not. I refuse to. I'm an infidel. I'm a 3%er and I'm a 1%er. That equals 4%, and I don't like the state of America right now. No, this is my America, and I'm taking it back. We're gonna have Trump in office. Trump's coming back.
I'm sorry, Oakley. Sorry.
Don't touch me. You're pissing me off. You won't let me buy my stuff. I'm not letting you buy your stuff. Well, fuck you then.
Oh, entitlement? I don't know. This is an incredibly powerful thing here. This is on obviously an outdoor security camera, and we don't have the audio, but we do have. Hang on a second here. I got a notification from YouTube. Detective video stream belonging to someone else. The Jason Aldean thing. I knew I shouldn't have played it. Stream may be temporarily blocked. Please ensure that the content owner. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Let me see if I can get this. Oh crap. Okay. Can you disappear it? All right. No, you can't. They're going to leave it up there. So I can't see comments, and I can't tell for sure if I've got things centered or not. But I've got a pretty good idea. We're all right here. Okay, the audio that's on here is an overdub. What happens? You'll be able to read in the closed captioning. What's basically happening here is a young black man's trying to break into this house. He's got a pistol in his waistband, as you can maybe see. And somebody comes out of the house. And they're in a standoff. Young man drops his gun. Older guy brings his down. Talks to him like a little brother. I don't know, I don't know if that would ever happen again, but if it could. All right. Politics girl, I'm sorry, messed up her name. Politics girl has a message for white women that I think a lot of people should hear, and that's why it's part of our show tonight, obviously. And let me get it cued.
This is a message to my fellow white women. What are we doing? Because it's people that look like us that are taking over school boards and stripping children of their rights. It's people that look like us that are heading up groups who claim to be for parents' choice, but are really for ignorant bigotry. It's people who look like us who voted in majority to put a misogynistic, racist criminal in the White House. What are we doing? Right now, some of you are on the side of letting our children get slaughtered in their schools. You're on the side of kids committing suicide because they're not allowed to be who they want to be. You're on the side of book banning and the teaching of propaganda history because it makes us feel less guilty than teaching our children the truth. That's crazy. Why would you want our kids to be that ignorant? To be confident but stupid? To be unable to compete outside of their states or the country? Oh, you learned real facts? Well, I learned Florida facts, so. If you define yourself by being a mother, if you define yourself by being a woman, if you define yourself by your kindness or your goodness or your faith, if you've devoted your life to taking care of others, then why are you carrying water for people who do and say the opposite of the things you claim to stand for? Why are you voting for politicians who see these wonderful qualities you put out into the world as something to be manipulated rather than emulated? There is nothing we get from white supremacy or the patriarchy that can't be taken from us as soon as we give them access to unlimited power. The very first opportunity they had, Republicans stripped women of our rights. They stripped us of the right to make the choice over what we can do with our own bodies. They've chosen to force us to die from treatable pregnancy complications and to bear our rapist babies. And they're talking about the death penalty for women who've had abortions. They're passing laws to allow our daughters to be married off as children and to expand child labor. So let's be clear, they aren't looking out for us or our kids. They're limiting what we can do and telling us how it's going to be. If we support them gaining more power over others.
By the way, I'm pausing it here just for a moment for commentary. She said child labor. Just Google states wanting children to be bartenders.
There's no way we don't end up subjugated ourselves. Look around at what you're doing. If it's marginalizing other people, other voices, other ideas because they don't match best with what you think the world should be, then you are helping build the power structure that will one day marginalize you. We are not protected by our proximity to white men. We are the closest collaborators in their perversity and the ones they will turn their eye on as soon as there is no one else left to destroy. We have to stand up against these tactics now or lose the power to stand up against anything again. We can't be naive. The world they're trying to create only includes us if we are useful to them. All the rights people have fought for, including our own, will be gone and there will be no way for us to get them back. And it'll be us, the white women, who allowed it to happen.
Okay, something to think about. That's a message from Politics Girl. And we were able to get the whole thing played on Twitter. This was original. This is, I found this because it was retweeted by Ouida People. This comes from Wall Street Apes. America's child sex trafficking problem is far bigger than anyone realizes. Quote, man after man showed up to this house thinking they were meeting teenagers for sex. End quote. 104 men were arrested in one day. 104 men in one day. Charges such as attempted unlawful sexual conduct with a minor and Wagner's Prigozhin, we're back over, hopping back over into the Eastern European conflict. Lukashenko, president of Belarus, was in Moscow with Putin, and he joked, I think it was a joke, he joked that he was having trouble keeping the Wagner troops in line because they wanted to go into Poland. And in the meantime, Prigozhin has officially registered a new company. It's called, quote, Concord Management and Consulting, end quote, in Belarus's Mogilev region, according to Belarus media. That'll be significant to a couple of you. Most of you are like, who cares? And it's okay. I get it. I don't really know how to describe this. So I'm just going to play it. We got volume.
I'm ashamed to say
Whoa.
this because I am Italian, okay?
Hang on. Let's restart this so we get the full effect.
Here's what I heard from a very good military friend of mine. And I'm ashamed to say this because I am Italian, okay? The Pope and his Leonardo satellites up in space. If you remember when Mr. Trump first got in, he launched SpaceX and Space Age up there, and he put the biggest satellite up there. Well, it caught all the votes that were pinged up from him and sent back to Earth for Biden. They got all that. They got it all.
What? Where's this information from?
Okay, here, in case you're having trouble, the translation is right down here in the closed captioning, and let's start again, just because I'm sure some of you, again, I can't see what's going on in chat, but I'm sure some of you are going, what? They what? They did what? Just like the announcer did. I mean, he was caught so far off guard.
Here's what I heard from a very good military friend of mine. And I'm ashamed to say this because I am Italian, okay? The Pope and his Leonardo satellites up in space. If you remember when Mr. Trump first got in, he launched SpaceX and Space Age up there, and he put the biggest satellite up there. Well, it caught all the votes that were pinged up from him and sent back to Earth for Biden. They got all that. They got it all.
What?
They got
Where's this information from?
Mm-hmm.
They're sending votes to space?
They sent the votes to Italy and Berlin.
For what?
Well, they shot them up there, and then they brought them back as Biden's.
Why are they sending votes up to satellites?
Because they had to do it some way that wasn't so suspicious. But he caught them in the act. And here's what I want you to
Mention this in this speech. He's going to talk about the satellites and the votes.
He won't do that. This is a secret. You might want to edit that, okay? I don't know if you want to put all that on there, but
I think the people deserve to.
here's what I heard.
People deserve to know what somebody told you. Okay, so a brief translation. In her mind, Trump put the biggest satellite ever up with Space Age when he was in there, and he beamed all of his votes up to the satellite. But the Pope has Leonardo da Vinci satellites, and the Pope intercepted all of Trump's votes that went to his satellite and changed them into Biden votes and sent them to Italy and Berlin, which, maybe make perfect sense. It may be just as absurd as what this is. Tens of thousands of fish washing up on the Texas shoreline. This comes in July 22nd. And I mean tens of thousands of fish. So we're going to talk about the water warming here in a few minutes. Another little bit of humor to just to break the string of pretty serious stuff. I showed this. Hold on a second. I showed this the other night. I showed the guy punching the window the other night. A very creative person took that and did this.
I'm gonna write a song with this random guy hitting my window. We're gonna. Oi, come back!
Again, just a little bit of humor there in the middle of our things to think about. Once again, staffer says Trump will drop out of the 2024 race in exchange for a deal to avoid prosecution or prison. My opinion is Democrats do not want Trump to drop out. My opinion is a lot of America would not be against seeing him in prison. Okay, this one, when it was first sent to me, and maybe I'm supposed to play this tomorrow night. Maybe I wasn't supposed to load this up tonight. Maybe it was supposed to be tomorrow night when the ladies are on. But all right, they're promoting clean energy. Yeah. It's lights on a wall. It's not a real guy. There you go. You're not going to see that on mainstream media, or this probably, but I can't enlarge it. Darn it. Maybe I can. Yes, there we go. Give you a good look at. Oh, internet! Just when I want to quit you, you gift me this. It's Ted Cruz and Ed Grimley. I almost forgot his name. From Saturday Night Live, dressed uncannily alike. President John F. Kennedy's grandson endorses President Biden and slams Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And his campaign, as most of the Kennedy family have. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is going. I was able to meet the guy and stood in line to get a book signed from him and explained who I was and such, and that I was, the river keepers thing, wanting clean water. I was, all in for that, and he's just gone. He's gone kind of wackadoodle, and his family is saying, hey, he's in it for himself. And a reminder that Donald Trump, in case you have not seen this, it's real quick. Turn the volume up on this.
We are going to do things to you that have never been done before. If you fuck around with us, if you do something bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before. If you fuck around with us, if you do something bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
Which takes us to this from Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Marjorie Taylor Greene's podcast has dropped. Take a look at it. It's a weird one. Check this out.
And I am really fed up with it. Sick and tired of it. The only way to save America is for Republicans to groan and spine.
These people really do think that they live in a movie, don't they? I'm thoroughly convinced that they do not live in reality, that they do not realize that there are real life implications for some of the things that they do.
Yeah, she was, I don't know if she was doing it or not, but she made it appear like she was shooting at the Capitol. So, I don't know. That may play well. This I found very interesting. We've got a couple of more things after this, and then I'll be able to look at the phone. And if anybody has any questions or anything, hang on to them. I'll spend a couple of minutes at the end here. Fake elector defendant says she was duped. I'll let you decide.
Is at the center of it all. So-called fake electors trying to get into the state capitol building back in December of 2020.
Oh, they're going to play a commercial.
Pathway with quick
All right, hang on. I had it all set up, all queued up, all ready to go. I already played through the commercials. But that's all right. Here we go. Back to it.
Former President Donald Trump. Thanks for being with us, everybody. I'm Kimberly Gill.
I'm Devin Skillian. More than 3 years later, 16 people facing criminal charges, and tonight we are hearing exclusively from one of those defendants.
Paula Tutman is live with that conversation, and Paula, this person tells a much different story.
Well, yes, she absolutely does. So let's just start with the day where I actually went down the list and started calling every single one of those delegates. I know that they are in legal jeopardy right now, but I
Good
wanted to at
journalism.
least give them an opportunity to talk. Didn't get in touch with any of them until I got to Michelle Lundgren. Now, she's 73 years old. She actually ran in 2022 as a Republican for a state representative. She was unsuccessful. That's Wayne County's 9th district in Detroit. She said she is a duly designated delegate for the Republican Party. She says when she was called to a meeting, she thought she was going as a delegate, not as an elector. Take a listen.
We were duped.
Michelle Lundgren is the 9th name on the list of accused fake electors charged by Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel with 8 felonies that carry up to 80 years in prison if convicted.
Are you recording this?
Yes, you're being recorded. This morning, she gave me permission to record our phone conversation, where she explains her version of how her name got on the list of 16 total co-defendants in a scheme the Attorney General alleges tried to steal.
And just to be clear, being a delegate is much different than being an elector. Being a delegate means you go to the national convention and you represent the congressional district you're from, along with other delegates, and the state that you're from. Being an elector means that if your candidate wins your state's popular vote, then you are pledged to vote for that candidate as a in the electoral college. So just to make that clear, there's a big difference between her being an elected delegate and her name ending up on a elector slip. And here's how it happened according to her.
Michigan's votes for Donald Trump.
The scam was bigger than all of us.
She says she was summoned to Michigan's Republican Party headquarters.
We were told to come. They needed us, and we went, and we were given cake and coffee. We were called by a member of the Republican Party. Be sure you come. We really gotta help. I asked if my husband could come in. They said no outsiders. And that became very alarming to me. This was kind of suspicious.
She and others were told not to take pictures. She says she and her fellow Republicans, whom she believed to be delegates, not actual electors, were asked to sign in on an index card. Even though she was told not to snap photos, she did. And she emailed them to me this afternoon. She says it proves someone took her signature, along with the others in the room, off a plain piece of paper and transposed them to an official federal election document.
We signed a sign-in sheet with our names. It fits right into the real elector ballot.
Also in attendance, she says,
we walked to the Capitol building with, it's all in news, it's all in Google, with attorney Ian Northam, a Trump attorney, and we were not allowed in the building. I was an innocent little bystander in this whole thing, thinking I was doing my civic duty.
Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel says she's got proof these 16 Michiganders deliberately and knowingly posed as electors, knowing they were not. But at the Capitol that day...
That's all I'm going to say. I've been sworn to secrecy.
This plan to reject the will of the voters and undermine democracy was fraudulent and legally baseless. The false electors' actions undermine the public's faith in the integrity of our elections.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, is this somebody that created a problem and is blaming it on someone else and claiming to be a victim, that they were duped? Or is this someone that was duped by a corrupt Republican Party? One other little bit here. This is from the 19th of July, 2023, just a few days ago. This is Greenland. Greenland is normally covered by ice. Iceland is incredibly green. Why? Well, hundreds of thousands of years ago, Greenland was very green and Iceland was covered in ice. And at the moment, Greenland is melting, melting rapidly. The red areas are melts from the 2 previous days, and this is just Greenland. I think there's, let me see if I can find it real quick. There's a map that shows the ocean temperatures. You can search it yourself. Just look for, just Google something like anomalies in ocean temperatures, and you'll have hundreds of maps that will show you there's only one small area that is cool or cooler than it should be in all of the oceans. And you'll also notice how hot it is outside in many areas. And as we said that, we've been talking about that for quite a while. The weaker the magnetic field gets, the more radiation that comes in, the hotter it feels. It may only be 85 degrees outside, but if the sun's coming down upon you, it may feel like 105. So just keep all that stuff in mind when you're outside, and make sure, there's debates about sunscreen, that the only thing that really protects you is zinc oxide. If you're not white, then you're getting radiated, according to some. Just protect yourself if you go outside. Hat. Make sure your head's covered, your ears are covered, your neck's covered. Try not to go outside in the heat of the day. All right. All of that said and done, our final segment of the night, we go back to Twitter for this, and this is, there's supposed to be a disclosure coming up at the end of this week from either the NASA or the congressional investigations into UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenon, formerly or still also duly known as UFOs. All right, this is some pretty incredible footage, and I don't. It says, "Is this the footage they should have shown?" I can't verify this is footage or this is AI or what, but this is what we're going to end on, is giving you something to think about.
It purportedly shows an alien, an extraterrestrial, biological entity being interrogated. Yes, an alien creature being interrogated by members of the U.S. military.
So I take it aliens took over our future, right? Sort of human. Okay, so you evolved from us. So what are you doing here now? How? Okay, so how about we concentrate on your time? Wait, so you're the meaning of life? What's the difference? So you know how the universe is created. So you think God. Okay, illuminate us. Well, what happens when we die?
I know a little creepy one to end with, but nonetheless, our last something to think about for tonight. All right. I'll stay on here for a minute or two if anybody has any questions or comments or anything. And again, you seeing this live may be the only ones to see it because there was a couple of maybe copyright strike songs in there unintentionally, but it doesn't matter if it's intentional or not if it gets caught. So, hello, Nancy. Hello, Nancy. All I can see is Nancy, and I remember it's McMonarch, I believe. Hello to Nancy. Hello to all of you in the chat, especially, and those watching after watching after it's been live, watching on demand, if you will. I'll remind everybody that we're going to be doing this tomorrow night at 10. Hopefully, if I get it all set up, I'll have it all set up. We'll be back in the studio tomorrow night at 10, and we'll have the ladies panel, and we'll have a little bit of fun. If there's any news, hey, Lori Arnold, the Voodoo Unicorn. Lori will be with us. GA from CA, Cunning Stunt. I think Summer Dickerson might be with us. There's not going away. Thank you so much, as always, for everything you do, NGA. And we'll have some fun, and then we will get serious and talk about mental health, something that is not only not addressed, but not even talked about enough in our country. So we'll be doing that tomorrow night. GA from CA, we need some, and I can't read the way I've got my phone set up. The bars right across the chats that do come up. Thank you again, NGA, not going away. We'll be on tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Don't be surprised if the Trump indictment comes out tomorrow, possibly even tomorrow morning. I say this for a couple of reasons. Number one being media trucks are parked outside the courthouse and have been for quite some time, getting a prime spot. They normally don't do that. I imagine they've been tipped off. So I'm going to go ahead and call it here. Tomorrow, the 24th of July, Donald Trump is going to have a series of indictments come down surrounding January 6th. How many? I've heard as many. I've heard a lot, and also I've heard as many as 12 to 20 people indicted along with him. So they're anticipating a massive day tomorrow, which it may be. And if so, I'll be on live tomorrow during the day, as well as tomorrow night for our mental health talk. So until then, I'm going to get off here. We're going to keep it under an hour, which was my intended goal was a half an hour, which means generally we'll have an hour because I talk way too much, but got a lot to say, and hopefully gave you some things to think about, because that's what we try to do. Tomorrow night we're going to be thinking about mental health, and hope you will join us. Until then, Thank you for being here. Thank you for clicking on. Hit the like on the way out. It really does matter. It doesn't cost you anything. And consider subscribing if you're not a subscriber. That doesn't cost anything either. Until the very next time, tomorrow sometime or later on today, actually, here in 2 minutes. I love y'all. Namaste. Shalom. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum. May blessings be upon you. I wish you nothing but peace, love, positive vibrations. It's a dark world. Try to be a light. I love y'all. See you next time.